with your host, Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com, broadcasting live on YouTube and on X. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. It is Tuesday, May 6th, 2025, and that only means one thing. We are going to be joined by the one and only Rocky Romanella. Stay with us around 7:10 because we have to talk National Hockey League. We also must talk NBA as two road teams won game number one yesterday in round number two of the NBA playoffs. Get in on the action. The Rome Show 1, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, whatever the social media site is. You can follow the show, The Rome Show 1, or the mothership 12OZ Sports. I ended the show yesterday mentioning something about Major League Baseball and how Major League Baseball has to do something with their television deal, because not only have they been trying to do some things with the popularity of the sport, the inability for anybody to watch baseball easily on any of the 32 teams, even if you have the MLB Network package, is absolutely ridiculous. And so today, before we get Rocky on the air, I wanted to start the show with a classic straight off the rope. So, the beginning of this year, end of last year, it was announced that ESPN and Major League Baseball would be ending their 35-year national television contract, okay? And that really put Major League Baseball in a tough spot. And so going into the 2026 season, MLB is going to have to make a decision on who will be their national television provider, okay? So on top of that, besides the fact that not every team, not every game is going to be on national television, now the largest broadcaster of national televised live sports in ESPN is dropping you, and you don't really know where to go. And the other catch of this issue right here is that all of the rest of the TV deals for Major League Baseball are wrapped up in regional contracts, okay? So it's a catch-22, all right? Because if you're a Mets fan, presumably you're going to go get the package that allows you to watch SNY and picks, and that allows you to watch all of the Mets home games. And then if the Mets are on the road, you have the MLB package to watch all of their away games. Asinine. Okay? Ridiculous. Last night, I wanted to watch the Yankees. I have the MLB package. I can get every single team. I have a little logo on my TV for every single team. Okay? I can watch the Orioles games, the Los Angeles Angels, the San Francisco, Oakland, Las Vegas Athletics of 3 different states. I can watch them. But because I'm roughly 43 miles away from the Bronx, and for some stupid reason, Yes Network gets broadcasting rights on the regional television broadcast, I, who has the national package, the package for the game that gives me the most amount of baseball games to watch per year, cannot watch the Yankees or the Mets, sometimes the Phillies, but I can watch everybody else. So if I want to watch as many baseball games as possible, which should be the goal for Major League Baseball to its fans, I have to essentially have roughly at least a minimum of 2 television deals, a minimum of spending money 2 different places for television, but probably 3, maybe even 4, okay? Because all the Mets games aren't on SNY. So If I don't have the primetime cable package, then I need to get the SNY app that gets me the Mets games. But then I also got to get something else that gets me the Picks games. But the Mets aren't only on SNY and on Picks because they are going to have some national games. Okay. But they're also going to have these random games on Apple or Amazon or something else. That's 4 different places. So no wonder the popularity of baseball declining. The ability for people to get on board with baseball's 162 game schedule declining. Because not only is the schedule too long, which we know is something that we can no longer touch. It's never going to happen. We're never going backwards. The owners are never going to be okay making less money. Okay. But the television deal needs to change yesterday. Okay. And it's simple. It's a simple fix, Major League Baseball. It's a simple fix because in the day and age of we're trending towards apps and everyone has a Amazon Live TV, a Hulu Live TV, a YouTube Live TV, a Sling Live TV, whatever it is. We're trending in that direction. Do one of 2 things. Okay. Work your tail off to strike a deal with one streaming service that would be the home of Major League Baseball, okay? And that one streaming service, you have the ability as a human being that watches baseball to go onto that streaming service, click Major League Baseball, and watch anyone I want, okay? And if that streaming service isn't Hulu, YouTube, Sling, whatever, why don't you just create that through the MLB network? Okay? Create an opportunity out there where me, the fan that wants to watch as much baseball as possible, can. But also me, the Mets fan, can watch the Mets. And I don't have to pay for cable for SNY, my Sling streaming services, so I can then get the MLB network content. And then the 3rd or 4th site I might need for the times that the games might be there. Give me one location, the MLB app. Let me purchase the $119.99 package for the year and allow me to watch any Major League Baseball game, no matter the location, no matter the situation, right there. Keep everybody in one spot and then revenue share that package from Major League Baseball. And you want to strike a deal, with Hulu or with Sling to be your national television provider, the way it goes? Sure, yeah, do it. Yep, absolutely. Or vice versa. Let's make it a national television broadcasting deal through the MLB app, okay? And then we strike regional deals. Hey, Picks, you want us to simulcast 55 of these Mets home games for you? No doubt. Here's the cost. The regional is not the main. The national is the main. I can go to one location and I can watch these games. That exists in football. That it exists. You can buy the package that gets you every football game, no matter where you live. Okay? That exists in basketball. I can watch any basketball team anywhere I want. Okay? We'll get Rocky's opinion on hockey, but it do not exist in baseball, and it needs to change. Or baseball, I don't think it's not going to not be a sport anymore, but damn, the popularity is going to keep dropping. You're going to keep having 6 to 8 teams a year that are atrociously bad like the Rockies are this year, and that's just not fun. You know what's fun? Hockey with Rocky on a Tuesday. We're going to take a quick 1-minute commercial break. And on the backside of that, we come back with Rocky, his opinions on this Major League Baseball television thing, and all of the hockey you need to get you right for round number 2. The Rome Show, 12OZ Sports, live on YouTube and X, back immediately after this.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, At MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Yeah, it's the Rome Show. 12ouncesports.com. We broadcast live on YouTube and on X. I wonder if they'll ever make a new sounder for X. Like Rocky, do you think
they don't have the bird?
No, it's this thing still. It's the little whistle, but I don't know. It was a bird that now that the thing's just an X. You think they changed their
because I guess I'm still tweeting, but I'm not Xing.
Yeah. What an
we need a new adjective or a verb.
Yeah, what an atrocious name change we have
there.
For there. How we doing today, Rock? Love the getup. Love the getup.
Fantastic. Roll clones, right? We're in our playoff gear. We're ready to go. We got back from a nice long run today, so we didn't have time to shower before the pod, but we're ready to go.
Nice. That is an elite running fit right there, though. Really good out of you.
By the way, notes, if you want the Yes Network, you got to go to Gotham Sports app. That's the best place to get the Yes Network. But then once you get into the Gotham Sports app, you're going to need to obviously have access to Yes via your cable provider. And so if you don't have Spectrum, like let's say you have Xfinity, I believe you don't get the Yes Network. So, you're pretty much screwed. I mean, I run into it all the time. By the way, I have also struggled because the SNY app for the Mets is no longer applicable. You have to go through MLB TV, and I just, for whatever reason, like I can't log in through Google, so like I don't want to make another username and password. So I'm just gonna chalk it up for a loss on those Mets games.
Yeah, and then you probably end up losing 65 Mets games a year, probably, maybe even more.
Well, yeah, because it's tough when they play on picks,
right?
Because
usually you don't have the cable provider, right?
Yeah, which is why the SNY app was money.
God, what are we doing?
It happens to me all the time. Like during the Giants games, like it'll be like, it's like New York. I'm in New York, but like, I'm gonna get the Cincinnati or the Pittsburgh game over the New York Giants.
on Fox or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, I think at least in football, you have the chance to go to whatever it is, YouTube TV, whatever it is now, the combo Direct TV, and you can get any game you want. You can go watch any you want.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is legit, like pretty crazy to think that, the local blackout made sense when there wasn't like when you like had, your TV had 7 channels.
Right. Like if you had 2, 3, 4, 7, and 11, and it's like, well, we got to black them out. Okay, got it. No doubt.
But if I can't get it on cable, then I should be able to get it on the MLB app.
Yes. And I also just think that it's one of those things where, Rocky, this is why baseball is not as popular of a sport as every other sport right now, because it took them 35 years to finally look and go, maybe we should do something different, where football, hockey, and basketball, even for the last 20 years, have been meticulously looking at their sport and doing things differently. I mean, I said it yesterday. Think about it. We have a 7 seed beating a 2 seed in the NBA, and we have a 6 seed beating a 3 seed in the NBA. Last night, both away teams won the first game of the NBA round 2 postseason. When did that happen early on in our lifetime? Why is that happening now? Because the NBA focused on parity and competitive nature and not letting these guys rest. The play-in tournament was created. Now, all of a sudden, you have parity and exciting basketball being played and more people engaged on it. Baseball just never did stuff like that.
No, and I think baseball, we talked about it last postseason. Baseball probably has its best modern product out there. I mean, I saw a game last week. It was 2 hours and 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, like you've got your best product. You're not giving up home runs. I mean, you're not giving up scoring, but the game is faster. The talent is better. And you're at a point now, people are innovating on bats. I mean, like you're at an exciting point. If you can't get your product out to the people, and it's frustrating, it's like, why am I going to waste? I've got 162 of these. I just won't watch this one.
So what does hockey do? How do you watch the Rangers?
Hockey's great. I mean, hockey, MSG is on Spectrum, so I'm good there. If the Sabres are playing and the Devils or Islanders are playing, I won't get the Rangers because the Sabres will take precedent because of where I'm at. But then I just go to the Gotham Sports app and then I get the Rangers right there. And I
So
can get
name
that app. I can get that app on my Samsung TV. So it's not like just on my iPad.
See, I think that's my killer here is that it's no longer, it's like, how do you watch the Rangers? I just go flip this channel on. I truly believe now that each professional sports league should have a package on their own individual network that I can pay for. There are no blackout restrictions. Doesn't matter where I live.
Agreed.
Watch
Totally agreed. Totally agreed. Because at this point, and this is why I've never fully committed to a streaming service, because when it comes to sports, you're better off with a cable box because if you go to the Fox Sports app, right? Like if Fox Sports has two games on, well, I can still watch on the app because I'm connected through the TV.
right.
Now sometimes they black it out, but like in other like, but that is every time I go onto a sports app, it's what is your cable provider?
Blackouts should not be a thing. Okay, all right. I got to move off this because I could talk about this. I guess I've reached my breaking point yesterday. Because here's the other thing I'll say. And if you're out there and you're on YouTube, you're on X listening to us right now, and you're thinking about Xing, why don't you X on over into us and let us know what your streaming situation is? Because right now, I can watch Liberty Southwestern Eastern University baseball versus Texas Southern Nevada University anytime I want, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I can watch that because I have the ESPN app and they're on ESPN Plus. But I can't watch
Yeah.
Juan Soto
No,
against the Miami Marlins
no. I
because I
catch
live.
every Liberty University home game for every sport.
And by the way, just so we're aware, whoever the gods of the television providing are, I am nowhere near Queens. Okay, it is so hard for me from where I am sitting right now to even think about getting to Queens, to even entertain going to the Bronx. That it's funny that you would call it a blackout restriction because of the proximity, when the proximity for me to actually go physically watch it is closer to a Phillies game than it would be for me getting to Queens because of how the city works. So I just had to get that out there. These are my thoughts. This is why it's called Straight Off the Rome. Rocky, I need your opinions and your thoughts on the playoffs because I know that you had a solid. I wouldn't give you an A, maybe a B minus on your picks in the first round, but
Totally
still
B. Totally a B.
a lot of people alive. Go ahead, floor is yours.
All right, so we'll recap the first round. So we'll go right to left in less exciting to more exciting. So Carolina Devils, pretty much what we expected. If I'm a Devils fan, I'm paying attention to Jakob Markstrom in goal. I think I'm pretty confident in my goaltender. And if I'm a Devils fan, I want to go revisit the first half of the season, and I want that team in the playoffs.
Real quick
And
before you move on, because I am a
yeah,
Devils fan. So you do believe that goalie trade was the move long term?
yeah. I mean, think about it. I mean, he's on the international stage for Team Sweden. I thought he's probably. I mean, he might have been your most physical guy in the playoffs.
Funny, that's a good point. All right, I just because I see what's his name, was it Blackwood? Was it with the Avalanche? And
Yeah.
so when you see another goaltender that was in the pipes for your team, you say to yourself, "Did we make the right decision?"
I'm going to go through these not and think of like what could have been. I'm
Okay,
going to think of if I'm looking at the team and I'm refreshing my browser to, okay, was this a good season or not? Here are some things I can be pumped about that I saw in the playoffs. Like one of those things was Markstrom,
love
right?
it.
You know, Carolina, I think I'm sticking with Carolina over Washington. Washington looked great, but I think Montreal surprised everyone with how gritty they were. And if I'm paying attention to Montreal, I'm paying attention to Lane Hudson. He's a finalist for the Calder Trophy Rookie of the Year. Dude is going to be a stud defenseman in the league for a very, very long time.
Awesome. I feel like a great defenseman is like a great offensive or defensive lineman. Like it might not be sexy at first, but you realize long term you need that to be a great team.
No doubt. No doubt. Tampa Bay, Florida. I found myself what I avoided in the St. Louis Winnipeg pick, where I was like, I want to pick St. Louis because of like their run and like the feeling. right?
And
I picked Tampa Bay for that same feeling, right? They had a better finish than Florida, right? Totally forgetting who Florida was. Like for whatever reason, like we were duped by Florida's last 15 games and forgot who they were, and they showed up in the playoffs and were exactly who we've seen them be the last 2 years. Most physical, demanding, tough team to play against, and they just dismantled Tampa Bay
you know
one
what
at
I
a time.
thought? You know what I just thought about when you said that? Remember that Arizona Cardinals coach? They are who we thought they were.
That
And we
is
let them off
exactly,
the hook.
and that is, and again, Toronto squeak out a big W last night, but that's what I'd be fearful was the player that stood out to me in Tampa Bay was Nikita Kucherov, another Hall of Fame esque regular season, 0 goals, 0 goals in the
No.
first round of the playoffs, and I saw a stat that every 3 times in Nikita Kucherov's career where he was top three in the league in scoring, no goals in the playoffs, and all first round exits for the Tampa Bay
Wow.
Lightning.
That is sad because I think that long term, I've decided that he's a Mount Rushmore player for me.
Dude,
I love
he's so good, and I think it goes to show you, you don't hear about double teams. Like you could double team a guy on the line, you could double team a wide receiver, you double team guys in basketball all the time, right? You don't double team guys in hockey. So when you can shut down a scorer like that, I mean, it just goes to show you how powerful it is and like how it can really dismantle an offense.
Sure, no doubt.
Ottawa, Toronto. I mean, Toronto looked dominant for 3 games, and then they looked like who we've all feared they are, which is the team that can't put a team away. But ultimately, you've got to pay attention to Brady Tkachuk if I'm an Ottawa fan and say,
Yeah.
man, that guy's a captain. First time we've ever seen him in the playoffs, and he did not disappoint. He pretty much willed that team to almost back-to-back 3-game wins.
I truly think that's a double-edged sword, though, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, because isn't that also the scariest thing for them? It's like, is he going to stay here? You know what I'm saying?
Listen, he's got a no trade clause. He's the captain of a Canadian hockey team. Um, there's no reason to rush that guy out. There's no reason for him to rush out. I mean, you've got a great goaltender in Linus Allmark behind you. You've got good young talent around you. I mean, they were a 95 point team this year who could easily find themselves, they've got like Tampa Bay could fall off. They could slip into that 3 spot. I mean, they're a top 4 team in the Atlantic. Like, why would you run away from that?
That's huge for the Senators. I mean, it's been a minute since we've had a look at the Senators and said, oh, the next 5 to 7 years could be exciting for that franchise.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if he played for, like, if he was captaining, let's just say he was captaining Montreal, no one would be like, oh,
No,
we got to
say,
get
oh,
Brady
yeah.
out of Montreal.
Correct. That's exactly right.
You
Yeah,
know,
you're spot on.
so
Yeah.
so that's
like
market
Cleveland
driven.
Browns quarterback job. I mean,
Totally. I feel that the way Florida played, that I should flip flop my pick here and
okay.
not stick with Toronto.
Mhm.
But I don't think that would be. I don't know. Should I give, like, do I give as an analyst? Do you give yourself? Do you have to stick with what you said? Because I have Toronto in the Eastern Conference Final.
So
I have Toronto in the Stanley Cup Final.
I think it's really your decision, because none of these talking heads that exist outside of the Rome show even care that if they're insanely wrong. You actually care that your picks are respectable. So personally, I think you're of the integrity that you just stick to what you did from the jump, and then we analyze what happened long term. Doesn't
we
mean
will
you
see.
Can't tell us if you disagree with your own pick, though.
So we will see Toronto and Carolina in the Eastern Conference Final. And
I see that, though.
the only thing I'm mad about is that I backed off Florida. That's
Yeah,
like
I
on the
feel that.
East side. I'm like, why would I do that? I love that team. I was on their bandwagon for the last 2 years. Like, that Marchand trade really messed with my head.
Yeah, that's a great point. And for me, I think it's one of those things where it's like, I just always look at the coach, and like John Cooper is arguably the best coach in the league for who knows how long now. And they've been so good. It's also one of those things where if you would have told me, Rock, that you chose Tampa Bay because of their coach, because of their talent, because of who they've been, you could also make that same argument. I think at the end of the day, that could have been the hardest first round series in the last few years between those two heavyweight teams.
Yeah, no doubt. And then, the questions of Tampa Bay's depth, and as they've dwindled from their back-to-back cups, it truly is probably more apparent than ever. We flip over to the Western Conference where we go Edmonton, LA Kings, LA. You thought, similar to Ottawa, similar to the Devils. Like you saw them. I saw the Kings performing a year to two ahead of the Devils, a year or two ahead of Montreal, of Ottawa, and you really thought, hey, this is where they put it together. They shut down the top offense in the league, and you know in 3 games they could have done that, and they gave up three third period late goals. They showed their youth, and ultimately, you just cannot stop Edmonton from scoring goals.
Yeah. No, they
It
can
is it
score.
it is it's like they have just given up the fact that, like, listen, we're just not going to beat you with goaltending or defense.
Yeah, one of
We can
those.
only beat you with millions of goals.
Yeah, it's wild. And you know what? Who knows? We'll see how long it lasts. 'Cause if you're only funded on offense, it's scary.
Listen, and I'm excited for the Jack Eichel v. Connor McDavid down the middle matchup. I think it's a huge preview of the world of the gold medal game next year in the world in the Olympics, where it's USA Canada again.
Sure.
And instead of Austin Matthews taking on McDavid, it'll be Eichel against McDavid the entire time. So I'm excited to see that matchup. I'm going to stick with my original pick of the Vegas Golden Knights.
Love that.
Uh, as I look at the two teams that lost in LA, they just fired GM Rob Blake, which I think is a bad move. I mean, I think the team has been constructed just fine. I would have been looking more at the head coach when you look at three third period collapses
Yeah, right.
in that series. But Adrian Kempe and Quinton Byfield are the guys that you'd be paying attention to. Quinton Byfield, up and coming, but Adrian Kempe led that team in points through the playoffs. And if I'm in Minnesota, the guy I'm paying attention to is Matt Boldy. Didn't know much about Boldy until the Four Nations, and now
Yeah.
I can see why. I thought he was a standout player for the Wild throughout that entire series, and I thought the Wild actually showed better than I anticipated.
Have to find a new goaltender though.
100%. Moving upwards, Dallas, Colorado.
Great series.
Colorado couldn't score.
Yeah.
Colorado could not score.
Wild.
And they should have won games 1 and 2. They should have won both games. I think even game 3. I think it was like a wild stat where through the first 2 games or 3 games, Dallas had only led for like a minute and 12 seconds, and they
Yeah.
were
It's
up 2-1 on
crazy.
the series.
Yep.
Ultimately, I think Colorado lost that series. I don't know if
Sure.
Dallas won it,
I would agree with that.
and Winnipeg almost threw the series away.
Yeah. Dude, what I showed the ending yesterday, Rocky. I played goals 2, played goals 3, right? Like how it all ended. And it's just like, man, that is
At,
unbelievable because
at
I don't even think
three
it should
minutes,
be game
yeah.
7.
At 3 minutes and 33 seconds left, I text my buddies in the hockey chat, and I'm like, hey, that third goal was a lazy goal. Nick Ehlers was lazy. These guys put a nail in it. Like, they're done. I don't know if they've got what it takes. They scored 2. I go, I hope I'm eating my words. This is
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah, dude, that was crazy. And you know
And
what?
then,
The Blues, I mean, what a comeback. It just fell short this time.
hey, listen, former Rangers all over the stat sheet in that game, though. Morgan Barron, a huge piece of Winnipeg. Neil Pionk, I mean, just signed a 7-year extension, played 46 minutes, assists on 3 of their goals. Ah, man, that guy should be a Ranger. Um, if I'm looking at St. Louis and Colorado, I mean, Colorado, I'm just paying attention to Landeskog and what happens at the goaltending position. Do I stick with Black, or do I go make a move to get a big piece? And really how Landeskog pulls that team back together to a cup contending team, because they still got the core to do it. From St. Louis, the person that I pay attention to the most was Cam Fowler. I mean, Cam Fowler still led all defensemen in scoring for the first round of the playoffs. And then, subsequently Colton Parenko. So you look at St. Louis, they've got the fight, they've got the goaltending, and they have two tie-in defensemen like Parenko and Fowler really showing out in the playoffs. Gives me really, really big promise for that team moving forward.
That
And that is
is
your first round wrap up.
There it is, the Hockey with Rocky first round wrap up. I love that. I'm going to need you to answer one more question here before you go. All right. And what was great about that first round wrap up, by the way, is you also kind of gave us your second round predictions. That was a good little combo you did there.
Yeah.
But last night, in terms of the teams that aren't playing hockey right now, the New York Islanders garnered the first overall pick in the 2026 draft. You've given us a lot of updates on the college hockey throughout this year. Is there even a prospect? I was thinking about this last night. I got to ask Rocky tomorrow. Is there even a prospect worthy of having that number 1 overall pick? Should the Islander fan be excited about that?
There are two guys in question right now. The first is a guy by the name of Matthew Schaefer, defenseman, 6'2", 183, skating out of the Erie Otters in the OHL. He's the
Oh,
number 1 rated North American skater
okay.
based on Central Scouting's ranking. There's hype on him. He'd be the first overall. He'd be the first overall draft pick out of the Erie Otters organization since Connor McDavid was drafted out of the Erie Otters. The other person
Wow.
getting buzz is the 3rd rated North American skater playing at coming out of Boston College. His name, 5'10", 177 centerman James Haggins. And the reason he's getting buzz is because he is a Long Island native. So
Okay.
those are the two people that were swirling around, the early sentiments of the Islanders' first round pick last night.
All right, Rocky, are you ready for a random game show trivia for you?
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go. It is name those Islanders, okay?
Okay.
This is the 5th time in the history of their existence the Islanders have picked first overall, okay?
Yeah.
So this will be the 5th. They've had 4 prior. I'll give you 2. You name the last 2. Billy Harris in 1972 and Dennis Potvin in 1973. They didn't have a first overall pick again until 2000 and then again in 2009. Name those Islanders.
Rick DiPietro and John Tavares.
Wow, dude, that's electric stuff. I believe Rick DiPietro might be the only goalie in National Hockey League drafted 1 overall. Is that correct?
He's got a Bobby Bonilla contract with the Islanders.
Well, what's funny is you'd be surprised how many athletes have Bobby Bonilla-esque contracts. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, DiPietro was like the first person to sign like a 16-year deal. We had never seen it before.
Yeah. And it didn't really work out for the Islanders, but worked out great for Rick DiPietro.
Tough, yeah, tough. But I love DiPietro.
I do too. He's great on the radio as well.
He's good. He's a good radio personality. He does that well.
All right, Rocky, it's 7:35, which means it's time for Last Thought, your microphone.
I have 2 last thoughts. First, you've got some international hockey starting up in a couple days at the World Championships. So if you're paying attention to Team USA, I'd be paying attention to Tage Thompson, who was left off the 4 nations, but definitely in contention for the Olympic team next year. If you're watching Canada, I'd be paying attention to the fact that both Nathan McKinnon, Sidney Crosby, and Marc-Andre Fleury have decided to play for the team, which means those guys are going to be pretty good.
That's
and my final, I got this information as we were going on the air. So excited. Couldn't wait to share it. But tomorrow, May 7th, Netflix will be debuting Full Speed Season 2 inside NASCAR's 2024 playoffs.
Okay. I was dabbling through Full Speed, the OG, yesterday, and I was like, man, this is kind of cool. I need to get a little bit deeper into this. That's awesome.
No doubt. So pay attention there. And that's it. That's what you got. Roll clones. Yeah. Let's go.
Roll clones. And we finished the show with 2 Rockies on screen. We love that. Rocky, you have a fantastic rest of your day.
See you later.
Inside the Glass. Yeah, I played the sounder on the way out for him. I mean, we didn't play it on the way in. Rocky. All right, fine. I'll end the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Rome Show here. 12ouncesports.com. Broadcasting live on YouTube and X. Thank you to Rocky and Little Rocky for joining the show today. We enjoy the people that tuned in. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for who the hell knows, but you should tune in to find out. Until then, you have a great rest of your day. This is Andrew Romanella saying, peace.
Thank you for listening.